At my sister's wedding, she mocked me in her speech. My sister is a single mother, unwanted by anyone. Anyone want to take her? My mother laughed. She's a used product but still functional. Even comes with a defective son, haha. The room filled with laughter. At that moment, the groom slowly stood up. When he began to speak into the microphone, the entire room froze. The sound of Aaron Johnson's fingers tapping precisely on the calculator echoed in his small home office. As a single mother, he watched the clock while making final adjustments to a client's year-end statement. He had to pick up his son Noah from school in 30 minutes. "Mom, aren't you done yet?" Noah, age 10, peeked into the room. His bright brown hair and large blue eyes resembled his father's. Aaron smiled and picked up her coffee cup. "I'll be done soon. Did you finish your homework?" Noah nodded and showed her the paper in his hand. "I solved all the math problems, but I have a question about history." Aaron always took pride in her son's academic performance. She maintained the house and raised her son alone while working as an excellent accountant at a small local firm. Since her father passed away from a heart attack 5 years ago, her responsibilities had increased, but she never complained. "Can you wait just 10 more minutes? I'll help you with history when I'm done." The phone rang and Aaron sighed. It was her mother, Vivian. "Listen, Aaron, we need to talk about tomorrow's dinner." Vivian's voice always carried a demanding tone. "Amanda is bringing her fiancé. You are coming, right?" Aaron frowned. Her sister, Amanda, had always been the favored child. Beautiful and sociable, she was Vivian's pride and joy. In comparison, Aaron was always told she was too practical and boring. "Of course I'll be there, Mom. I'll bring Noah too." On the other end of the line, she heard her mother sigh. "Well, I suppose that's fine. But make sure he behaves. Don't let him ruin Amanda's special day." Aaron swallowed the words. Noah was always a well-behaved child. If there was any problem, it was with her mother and Amanda. "Don't worry. And what does Amanda's fiancé do?" "Michael Foster. He's an investment banker from a very wealthy family." Vivian's voice oozed with pride. "He's perfect for Amanda. Graduated from Harvard, cultured and sociable." Aaron rolled her eyes inwardly upon hearing her mother's praises. Her mother's values always centered on appearance and social status. The next day, Aaron and Noah arrived at Vivian's luxurious suburban home. Taking a deep breath as they entered, Aaron squeezed Noah's shoulder reassuringly. "Don't worry, Mom," Noah said. "I know Grandma and Aunt Amanda don't really like us." Aaron's heart ached. Her son's perceptiveness. Children were more sensitive than adults realized. As she opened the door, she could already hear Amanda's shrill laughter coming from the living room. She was wearing an elegant cocktail dress, holding a glass and talking to an unknown man. "Aaron, Noah, you finally made it." Vivian greeted them with a cool smile. "Amanda, Aaron and Noah are here." Amanda turned and smiled at her sister, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. "Aaron, so glad you could make it. This is my fiancé, Michael Foster." Michael stood and turned to face Aaron. He was tall with dark brown hair and kind eyes, and something erased Aaron's memory. It was a face she had seen before. "Pleased to meet you, Aaron," Michael said softly. "Amanda has told me a lot about you." He extended his hand and Aaron shook it. It was warm and his grip gentle. "Nice to meet you too," said Aaron. "This is my son, Noah." Michael smiled at Noah and looked him directly in the eyes. "Hi, Noah. Glad to meet you. What grade are you in?" "Fifth," Noah answered a little nervously. "What a wonderful age. When I was in 5th grade, I made a model of the solar system for the science fair." Michael's voice was gentle, and he seemed accustomed to talking to children. Amanda cleared her throat disapprovingly. "Michael, could you pour me some wine?" Aaron had a good impression of Michael. He seemed affable and considerate. It was surprising that he was engaged to someone with such a self-centered personality as Amanda. During dinner, Vivian and Amanda talked incessantly about the wedding preparations. The marvelous wedding dress, the luxurious reception hall, the famous catering company. Aaron's opinion was never asked. "You don't have to worry about the dress since you're not a bridesmaid," Amanda said abruptly. Aaron looked up surprised. "I'm not a bridesmaid? Oh, I'm so sorry. But we haven't been very close lately, have we?" Amanda's voice was filled with false sadness. Besides, you must be busy being a single mother with work and all. Vivian nodded in agreement. That's right, Erin. We don't want to burden you. Erin felt a pang in her chest but kept her expression neutral. She was used to her family's dismissal. Noah's hand gripped hers under the table. Only Michael wore an uncomfortable expression. He cleared his throat and said quietly, "But family involvement is important. I think Erin and Noah should be a part of this special day." Amanda turned to her fiancé with a look of surprise. "Of course they're invited. It's just that the bridesmaids are already set with my closest friends." Erin gave Michael a grateful smile. At least he seemed to be a considerate person. After dinner, as Erin helped with the cleaning, Michael entered the kitchen. "Can I help?" he offered. "It's okay. I'm used to it," Erin replied. "Amanda and Mom expect me to fulfill the practical role." Michael observed her silently for a moment. "You're different from what Amanda told me," he said softly. "What do you mean?" "Nothing," Michael smiled. "I just hope we have more opportunities to talk with you and Noah." After he left, Erin felt a strange sensation. Michael's face surfaced in her memory. She must have met him somewhere, but she couldn't remember when or where. In the car on the way home, Noah suddenly said, "Michael seems like a good person. I wonder why he's marrying someone like Amanda." Erin couldn't help but chuckle. "Noah, you shouldn't say things like that." But deep down, she had the same question as her son. As the wedding preparations progressed, Erin felt increasingly distanced from her family. Amanda and Vivian didn't share details about the wedding or ask for her opinion. Still, she discreetly handled work behind the scenes, addressing invitations, communicating with the venue, fine-tuning details, areas where her meticulousness as an accountant proved very useful. "Are you helping again?" One day, Michael stood beside Erin as she worked on the preparations. "Amanda seems too busy to handle these practical matters herself." "Don't worry. I'm good at this." Erin shrugged. Michael observed her for a while before saying, "You know, you sound familiar." Erin stopped and looked at him. "I've been feeling the same, but I can't quite place it." Just then, Noah ran into the room. "Mom, Michael, I finished my homework." Michael smiled at Noah. "What kind of homework was it?" "A history project. I researched the Roman Empire," Noah replied proudly. "Really? I love history too." Michael sat next to the boy and showed interest in his project. Erin felt a warm sensation in her chest as she watched the scene. Michael seemed to have a genuine interest in her son. Amanda's fiancé was clearly different from the men of the past, who never bothered getting to know Noah despite having become a part of their family. A week before the wedding, Michael made an unexpected call. "Erin, I want to talk to you about something." His voice was serious. "I want you to be the maid of honor." Erin was so surprised she was speechless. "But Amanda didn't even choose me as a bridesmaid. I asked her myself." "Family is important, especially on important days like a wedding." There was determination in Michael's voice. Amanda finally agreed. Erin felt uneasy. She doubted her sister was truly happy about it, but she was filled with gratitude for Michael's thoughtful gesture. The next day, Vivian called Erin furious. "Amanda is crying. Why did you ask Michael to do such a thing?" "I didn't say anything. Michael suggested it himself." "I can't believe this," Vivian snapped. "You always play the victim and try to ruin Amanda's life. This is her special day." Erin took a deep breath to calm herself. "I want Amanda to be happy. If she truly doesn't want me to be her maid of honor, I'll decline." "You can't refuse now." Michael already decided. Vivian's sigh was audible. "Don't stand out too much. Today is Amanda's day." On the wedding day, Erin arrived at the church early with Noah. She wore a modest sky blue dress. Perhaps it was too simple for a maid of honor, but it was to avoid upsetting Amanda. "Mom, you look beautiful," Noah smiled. In the preparation room, Amanda was surrounded by bridesmaids dressed in extravagant gowns. When Erin entered, her sister simply glanced at her and nodded coldly. "Well, Erin," Vivian said, her lips pursed, "that dress is fine. Just like you." The ceremony proceeded solemnly. Erin stood behind Amanda, smiling as she observed Michael's kind expression. He occasionally glanced at Erin, smiling reassuringly. The reception began with the entrance of the bride and groom, toasts, and dancing. Aaron sat at a table with Noah, quietly enjoying the meal. Soon it was time for the speeches. Amanda stood and took the microphone. She scanned the room and turned toward Aaron. Suddenly, her smile transformed into a malicious expression. "Thank you all for coming," Amanda began sweetly. "I'm so happy to share this special day with my family and friends." After speaking for a while about the joy of marriage, she suddenly pointed to Aaron. "By the way, this is my sister Aaron, a single mother who's lived without anyone's love." An awkward laughter rippled through the venue. "Anyone want to take her?" Aaron paled. Noah's small hand gripped hers tightly. Just kidding," Amanda said, laughing. Some of the audience laughed along, but many shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Vivian took the microphone. "Our eldest daughter is always so serious and boring," she said in a husky voice. "She's second-hand but still usable. Comes with a defective son." This time laughter erupted in several parts of the venue. Aaron froze. Noah's eyes filled with tears. "Mom," he said, his voice trembling. Aaron slowly stood up and took her son's hand. "Let's go," she said softly. But at that moment, from the corner of her eye, she saw Michael slowly rise. His face was red, clearly holding back his anger. The venue fell silent. All eyes were on the groom. Michael took a breath and stepped away from Amanda to take the microphone. His gaze met Aaron's as if trying to convey something. The venue was deathly quiet. Michael's expression showed a severity never seen before. With the microphone in hand, he began to speak slowly, emphasizing each word. "Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day I make the most important decision of my life. However, it is not the decision one might think." The smile vanished from Amanda's face, replaced by confusion. Vivian froze. "First, let me say something about that speech." Michael's voice sounded calm but clearly contained anger. "Those words directed at Aaron and Noah were cruel and thoughtless. I cannot share those values." Amanda started to speak, but Michael raised his hand silently to stop her. "In fact, there's something I want everyone to know." He took a deep breath and continued. "Aaron and we've met before." Aaron looked up, startled. Something was beginning to stir within her. The fog in her memory was slowly dissipating. 10 years ago, when my sister Caroline was battling leukemia, Aaron worked as a volunteer at the hospital. Michael's voice trembled slightly. "I was 22 then, and it was Aaron's kindness and strength, who was 25 then, that saved me." During the last few months of Caroline's life, Aaron continued to support her and our family. Hot tears welled up in Aaron's eyes. Caroline, of course, she remembered her. A young woman diagnosed with leukemia in her mid-20s. Aaron herself had suffered from the same illness as a youth. After recovering, she started volunteering at the hospital as a way to give back to the community. Even after Caroline's passing, Aaron continued to care for our family. Michael continued. "After my sister's death, it took me a long time to recover from the deep sadness." He choked up for a moment, then resumed speaking. "Then 3 years ago, I met Amanda at a party. I was drawn to her vivaciousness and sociability. I didn't learn that Amanda was Aaron's sister until after we started dating." Michael's gaze settled on Amanda, and his expression was mixed with sadness and disappointment. "The stories I heard about Aaron from her. Remembering them now, they were filled with prejudice. But I wanted to believe people could change." Amanda's face began to contort with anger. Vivian had slumped in her chair. "After our engagement, I began to perceive Amanda's true nature." Michael continued softly. "I was especially struck upon seeing Noah for the first time. He was the boy who would occasionally visit Caroline's room at the hospital." Aaron glanced at Noah. Her son, who was 5 years old at the time, sometimes accompanied her to the hospital as a volunteer. He gave handmade cards to the sick, brightening the rooms with his sincere smile. 10 years ago, Noah was just a 5-year-old boy, but he had a special talent for making my sister smile. Michael's voice softened. "When I learned he was Aaron's son, I felt it was destiny." Noah's eyes widened. "I remember. I gave a drawing to that lady." Michael smiled. "That's right, Noah. Caroline treasured your drawings until the very end." Michael's expression hardened again. "During our engagement, I had doubts about Amanda and Vivian's coldness and self-centeredness. especially their attitude towards Aaron and Noah. But I hoped they would change. Today's speech completely shattered that hope. Michael slowly removed his wedding ring. Gasps of surprise rippled through the audience. "Today I call off this marriage," he said quietly but firmly. 10 years ago, Caroline's last words were that true families respect and support each other. Amanda and Vivian are living contrary to that teaching. "This is a joke, right, Michael? What are you saying?" Amanda suddenly shrieked. "This is not a joke," Michael said softly. "I am now doing the right thing." He approached Aaron and Noah. "It took me a long time to find the charitable soul I met in that hospital." He held out his hand to Aaron. "Let's go together." Aaron wiped the tears streaming down her cheeks and took Michael's trembling hand. Noah also stood up and took Michael's other hand. "Wait!" Vivian shouted. "Do you have any idea how much this wedding cost?" Michael turned and said quietly, "I will cover all the expenses. Please send the invoices to my office." As the three of them left the venue, Michael bowed respectfully to the priest. "Excuse the disturbance." Under the bright sun outside, Aaron felt she could breathe freely for the first time. "I can't believe it," she whispered. "You really don't remember Caroline?" Michael asked gently. Aaron closed her eyes, piecing together her memories. "I can't forget her smile. Especially during those last few weeks, when the pain was intense, she always remained positive." Aaron's voice trembled. "But I honestly didn't remember much about you back then. I interacted with many patients." "I always remembered you," Michael said softly. "How dedicated you were to others, how strong and kind you were. After my sister passed away, I tried to find you, but I didn't know your contact information." Noah looked at both of them and asked, "What are we going to do now?" Michael placed his hand on the boy's shoulder. "How about we have a quiet dinner somewhere and talk about what comes next?" Aaron smiled. In her heart, a door that had long been closed was slowly beginning to open. As Michael's Lexus pulled out of the church parking lot, angry shouts could be heard from behind. In the rearview mirror they could see the image of Amanda running, her wedding dress hiked up, makeup smeared from tears, and her once perfect hairstyle disheveled. Vivian was also chasing after her daughter, breathless. "Michael! Come back!" Amanda's cries echoed from inside the car. Michael sighed deeply and looked at Aaron. "Are you okay?" Aaron exhaled shakily as she looked out the window at the chaotic wedding venue. The guests were confused, whispering amongst themselves, some taking pictures with their cell phones. Amanda's friends surrounded Vivian, trying to calm her down. "I don't know," Aaron answered honestly. "But I want to leave here with Noah." Noah was quiet in the back seat, but his eyes still showed traces of tears. "Mom, are you okay?" he asked softly. Aaron turned and smiled at her son. "I'm okay, Noah. We're together." Michael parked the car at a small restaurant by the coast. From the terrace they could see the calm sea, and the evening sky was dyed gold. The three sat in silence for a while, looking at their menus. There were too many emotions to express in words. "I'm sorry," Michael broke the silence, "for creating this situation." Aaron shook her head. "You have nothing to apologize for. Rather, thank you for protecting us." She turned her gaze to her son. "Especially Noah." "I'm okay," Noah said, his voice trying to sound strong, but his small hands trembled visibly. "I know what Grandma and Aunt Amanda said isn't true." Michael gently placed his hand on Noah's shoulder. "You're a special boy, Noah. You know how much Caroline looked forward to your visits? She called you her little son." Noah's face lit up. "Really?" "Yes, it's true." Aaron also smiled. Caroline's face always lit up whenever you arrived. Their food arrived. Aaron ate with a sense of security she hadn't felt in a long time. Michael's quiet presence was strangely comforting. "Michael," Aaron asked hesitantly, "why did you get engaged to Amanda? Did you truly love her?" Michael thought for a moment before answering honestly. "At first, I was attracted to her brightness. After losing Caroline, my world was plunged into darkness. Amanda was full of energy, and being with her made everything around me seem brighter." He continued, swirling his water glass. "And when I found out she was your sister, I felt something like destiny. Even though I couldn't remember you, perhaps I felt some connection." Michael smiled sadly. But over time, I realized Amanda's brightness was superficial. She constantly sought attention and lacked compassion, especially towards her family. And yet, you were still planning to marry her? Aaron asked curiously. Michael shrugged, embarrassed. I believe people could change. I tried to see her good side. And he hesitated. And to be honest, it was difficult to change a decision once made. The expectations of others were also high. Michael looked up and met Aaron's eyes. But today, seeing you and Noah being treated like that, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to follow my true feelings. His cell phone rang, and Amanda's name appeared on the screen. Michael sighed and ignored the call. But it soon rang again. Perhaps you should answer, Aaron suggested. Michael reluctantly answered the phone. Amanda's shouting voice filtered through the speaker. Aaron and Noah tried to focus on their food, but they could hear Amanda's fierce accusations. Michael replied in a calm voice, though at times, he showed an expression of weariness. Amanda, I've already made my decision, he finally said firmly. Let's talk to the lawyers tomorrow. Don't contact me again tonight. After hanging up, a heavy silence fell. I'm sorry, Michael apologized. Aaron shook her head. Don't apologize. This situation is complicated, isn't it? Where are we now? Noah suddenly asked. The adults exchanged smiles at his innocent question. Now, Michael reflected. Perhaps at the beginning of a new path. After dinner, Michael drove Aaron and Noah home. He stopped the car in front of their apartment and walked Aaron to the entrance. Thank you for everything today, Aaron said softly. The moonlight tinged her hair silver. Thank you too. Michael looked directly into her eyes. Can we see each other tomorrow, all three of us? Aaron smiled. Yes, of course. Mom asked Michael. Noah suddenly appeared at the doorway. He said he would tell me all about Caroline. Michael laughed. Of course, Noah. I promise. Aaron stood at the entrance, watching Michael return to his car. When he turned and smiled at her, a warmth washed over her. Entering the apartment, she saw several furious messages from Vivian on the answering machine. Aaron, how could you do this to us? Amanda is heartbroken. You brainwashed Michael, didn't you? Aaron sighed and deleted the messages. Go take a bath. You have school tomorrow. Mom, Noah said, tugging at Aaron's sleeve. Do you like Michael? Aaron was surprised by her son's direct question. I don't know him that well yet, Noah. But he seems like a good person. I like him, Noah said with conviction. He's Caroline's brother, and he protected us. And he was watching you smile. Aaron stroked her son's head. You're very observant. That night after Noah went to bed, Aaron gazed out the living room window. There was a mixture of confusion and hope in her heart. Her cell phone chimed with a message from Michael. Did you get home safely? Is Noah okay? Aaron replied with a smile. We're both fine, thank you. She received an immediate reply. I'm glad. Good night, Aaron. What do you think about coffee after I drop Noah off at school tomorrow? Aaron felt her heart skip a beat. Yes, I would love that. Good night, Michael. She held her phone to her chest and took a deep breath. The broken family, the wedding chaos, and this unexpected reunion. Everything was unfolding at breakneck speed. But strangely, something she hadn't felt in a long time filled her heart. A year later in autumn, with the beautiful maple leaves changing colors, Aaron hung the sign for her new accounting office in Maple Park. The words Johnson and Foster Financial Services shimmered in the morning light. The small business she founded with Michael's support had earned a local reputation in just a few months. Mom, hurry up. We'll be late for school. Noah shouted energetically. Now 11 years old, he had grown taller and had a confident expression. He was chosen as captain of the soccer team and was now popular at school. I'm coming. Aaron smiled at him. The changes in her life were evident in her too. Her shoulder-length hair had regained a healthy shine, and a light of confidence reflected in her eyes. I'll drive, Michael said, appearing from the doorway of their new home. Since last Christmas, the three of them had been living together. They weren't engaged yet, but their bond grew stronger each day. But don't you have an important meeting today? Aaron asked with concern. Michael shrugged. Being 30 minutes late won't end the world. It's Noah's important day. They stopped at a small cemetery in the city center. After placing fresh flowers on Caroline's grave, the three held hands in silence. "I kept my promise, little sister," Michael whispered softly. Aaron squeezed his hand, and Noah placed a small stone on the tombstone. It was a special custom between Caroline and Noah. "I still feel like she's watching over us," Noah said softly. Aaron leaned against Michael, resting her head on his shoulder. "Thank you, Caroline," she said in her heart. A few miles away, Amanda was packing her belongings from her luxurious apartment. After the wedding scandal, she had gradually drifted away from society. Her former friends had distanced themselves, especially after Vivian attempted to file a lawsuit. Even after Michael had paid all the wedding expenses, she lost her last supporters. Amanda was preparing to move into a small apartment. She could no longer maintain her lavish lifestyle and had to learn to live on her own income for the first time. The same happened with her friends. They avoided her, and her life filled with vanity gradually became a solitary one. Occasionally, she would try to contact Aaron, but she always received a cold response. She was finally beginning to understand that her actions had created an irreparable rift. On Christmas Eve afternoon, Aaron, Michael, and Noah relaxed in front of the fireplace. Noah was already asleep, dreaming of waiting presents. Michael silently pulled a small box out of his pocket. "Actually, I have something I want to give you." Aaron stared at the box in surprise. When she opened it, there was a beautiful emerald ring. "This is the ring that belonged to Caroline," Michael said softly. She said, "When you meet someone truly special, give this to her with my tears." Tears of joy welled up in Aaron's eyes. "You and Noah have truly brought light into my life." Michael took her hand. "Will you marry me? Let's become a true family." "A true family is connected not just by blood, but by the heart," he smiled, echoing Caroline's words. Aaron replied, "We already are a family." Outside the window, snow had begun to fall silently, as if heralding a new year and a new beginning.